What's up, everybody? I am Destroyer, and we are going to get into the power rankings today for the Aria division of Meloetta Draft League. Really excited to check out your guys' teams here. I am hopefully impartial to your guys' division as far as bias because I myself am in the Symphony division. Before we get into it, we're going to be doing kind of a tier list here where I first put your team, especially for the teams first off here. We may end up changing that kind of based off of where we're at with the other teams as we go along. I really haven't looked at these teams much in advance, so I'm going to be kind of live reacting and ranking just based on the moment here. We're going to go in the order of the draft order. So Lucario Man and the El Paso Pokemon Club are going to be our first. And we're just going to kind of go from there. So if you want to skip ahead to look at yours, then do where you're at in the draft order here. I'm going to be kind of grading these teams based off of what my fundamentals are for the draft, and I'll talk about that a little bit as we go through these drafts. And ultimately, nothing about the coaches here. Obviously, there are teams that I might think are kind of crummy that can be used really well by the right coach. I'm kind of looking at ultimately my own biases, so I'm ranking the teams best that I like and I would prefer to use. But generally, I think that those are ones that fit under a certain set of fundamentals that I like to go by. But so let's take a look first here at El Paso Pokemon Club. And I've got everybody's teams uploaded into a prep doc that I have here. I really like this prep doc because it can kind of show at a glance a lot of things that maybe otherwise I would miss just eyeballing it here. But so for example, one of the things I'm looking at here is speed tiers. You can see right here, Lucario Man has a blistering fast team. His first round pick was Iron Bundle with Terra, which is a respectable first round pick. This is one of the best Terra captains we have. I think it's probably, well, we do allow Regieleki to Terra. Otherwise, other than Regieleki, Iron Bundle is the strongest or the fastest Terra abuser, I believe. So, so looking at the team here, really, really fast. He does have some low end speed as well. Does kind of have some speed tier gaps here. And with speed tiers, it's nice to have fast things, but from a kind of just a fundamental perspective, it's nice to have a variety of different kinds of speeds because it affects how your opponents can build for you. He does have 75 to 100. There's a little bit of a gap there. I'm glad that he does have some low end things too. It's important to have some Slowmon because you don't want to be Trick Room abused every week. Pincurchin is about the slowest mon out there. And can I just acknowledge too, Lucario Man took a round 3 Pincurchin, which really hurt my soul as I was entering this into the doc. I cannot lie. I think he pulled it together a little bit. He made some transactions. I think he originally had Iron Thorns here. Iron Leaves, which was also a Terra Captain. So he was going for the 2 Paradox Terra Captains with Pincurchin. I get it. He ended up making some transactions there, and I think getting obviously Terra Rhyperior here as well as Ogerpon. But let's look. So yeah, he's got lots of speed. That's good, but it's not everything. I also really want to look at kind of the typing chart here. So this is, can I get it all in the same screen here almost? This is kind of the typing chart. This top row shows how many you have of each type. There are certain types that are really kind of crucial to have. If it's 0, obviously he doesn't have anything of this type. So no Ghost, no Normal, no Bug. I don't think that's really a huge deal. They gave you a red marker. The red, I guess, are just kind of potential concerns here as far as having too many of a typing or not enough of a typing. There's 3 flying types, which I don't think is necessarily a horrible thing. It does potentially make him weaker to certain things like ice and rock. We do see that he has some ice and some rock weakness here. Not a huge amount. -1 or 2 differential isn't usually a really huge thing. Overall, I think that this isn't a perfect looking typing chart, but it looks pretty good. He's got a really good variety of types there. I want to look at also his hazard situation here. So he has defog, a couple of defoggers. He has Tentacruel for spinning, obviously. So he has a couple good options there for hazard removal, which is good. Has some good hazard setting options as well. I think Pincurchin get toxic spikes. I know it gets spikes. He's got rocks here. He's got more spikes as well as screens with Klefki, more toxic spikes, more spikes with Ogerpon, Azelf. So he has a shitload of hazard threats, which is really nice to see. What else here? So he has, again, a very, very fast kind of frail team. I think that's kind of my biggest concern with this team overall, is just that it doesn't have a ton of bulk. He does have Rhyperior. He does have Incineroar. He does have Tentacruel. All of those are weak to ground. He has a couple of fast flying things, obviously, so he can kind of switch in to take Earthquakes there. But it does concern me a little bit that he has all of kind of his defensive Pokemon, for the most part, are weak to ground. So he can certainly work that. There's one observation there, though. When I get like defensive cores, I usually like to have defensive Pokemon that are kind of complementary to each other if possible. Yeah, I don't know. He's got most of the things. Let's see. He's got some fast special attackers, obviously. He's got Hawlucha, which is going to be very fast with the Pincurchin if he goes for a terrain mode in any given week. Yeah, just a blistering fast team overall. That's my biggest concern, I guess, is just that there's not a huge amount of bulk. Just trying to see any other kind of notable things here. Look, seems like it's decent. Again, wish there was more defensive pivots. But yeah, I see what you're going for here, kind of with the terrain team option stuff. Almost unfortunate that you dropped the Terra Iron Leaves, but I think you were just patching up some holes in the team, which is fine. I think as far as where we're going to rank this, it doesn't really look like a team that I would use personally, but that's okay. Where are we at here? Okay, I think we're going to start off with a B. And kind of based on the rest of the teams that we see here, we can move that up or down, but B sounds like a great place to start for our first team. So let's go into our second one, and we got 14 here, of course. Second one, here's Team 2. Who does this belong to? This is Twisted Games. Okay. All right, so let's go back in here. So he got a round 1 Dragapult, which is excellent. I've never been able to use Dragapult myself. He's got one of the best Terra captains in Terra Zarude. Even though Zarude's going to be Terra-ing, probably, he does have a couple of fairy weaknesses, so he has the best fairy check right here. Galarian Slowking does have a couple of ghost weaknesses right off the bat there. He's got good secondary speed there with Ogerpon. Some hazard support, Keldeo. Okay. At first glance, it looks decent. Let's have a look at the specifics here in our prep doc. So yeah, speed wise, we got 142, 110. Kind of what I shoot for is you want to have ideally like two that are 110 or higher. I usually shoot for one that's around, if possible, 120 or higher. And then one somewhere around 110, which could even be a 108 or a 111, whatever. He's got good grouping of speed tiers here in that 100 range. Goes down 91, 78, 60, 50. So he's got really nice speed tiers, really. This is really a really nice example. I mean, obviously 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, basically 80, 90, basically 100. So yeah, really nice looking speed tiers on this one. Let's have a look at his typing chart. Okay, so it doesn't have an ice, which we don't care about. I mean, a couple of these, personally, like, if you don't have an ice type, it's not going to hurt you defensively anyways. Normal is nice to have. It might actually be nice to have a normal for him, just because he has he's got Galarian Slowking and Dragapult, who are both weak to Ghost, who I imagine he's going to want to bring pretty regularly together. So, and what did he have for a dark type? He has Zarude for a dark type. He also has Grimmsnarl. So I was going to say, because Zarude is probably using Terra in a lot of matches, so he does have that secondary Grimmsnarl. I actually kind of like, I haven't used Grimmsnarl a lot. It seems like a nice support piece here in this situation. This is a really nice complement for Dragapult, really. It's essentially, it's obviously it's immune to dragon moves. It is also weak to fairy, I guess. So that's one thing that I'm noticing here too, is we had the first two that were weak to fairy. We got Keldeo, who's weak to fairy. Got Grimmsnarl, who's weak to fairy. We do have some fairy resists, with main ones being Slowking and Forretress. Tinkatuff, yeah. It's a fairy resist, but are you going to bring Tinkatuff? He might bring it once, just to kind of prove me wrong, but I don't think that Tinkatuff is going to be coming this much. I think this is just him spending 1 point to kind of help shore up his charts. So that's one thing to look at as well, is not only how many things do you have on this typing chart here, but what are the qualities of those resists, and which ones are you going to bring into the battle actually most frequently. So having something like a Tinkatuff at the end of your draft will make this chart look better, but if you never bring Tinkatuff to a fight, it's not really going to matter. But again, he does have, most of his attackers are weak to fairy, which is a little bit concerning. Dragapult, Keldeo, Ogerpon's neutral, Landorus is neutral, Zarude can Terra, but is weak. Grimmsnarl's weak. These are his main. They can pivot, which is nice. He has got as well a couple of good ground pivots as well as ground immunities there, which we like to see. Going back over here to the chart, I got off on a tangent there. So he's a little weak to fairy, even with having that Tinkatuff there, helping his numbers out a little bit. A little weak to fire, a little weak to ice. He's got kind of all his crucial types. He's missing an ice, a normal, and a fire. I was concerned about ghost, kind of looking at just his top couple there, but he actually is green and ghost here, so he's got enough ghost resist according to this. Let's have a look back at the team here again. Maybe it's that Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl is helping out a lot here. Zarude too. And you could use Zarude as a resist, but usually Zarude is kind of like a come in and set up type mon. So you can use him once maybe, and you don't want to be taking a lot of chip on Zarude usually. But of course there are different ways that you can choose to play it. I guess. Oh, and what about his hazards? He's got spikes, rocks. I'm not going to count you, Tinkatuff, sorry. And he's got them all on Forretress. He's got another Toxic Spike user in Slowking, which is good. Forretress really just shores up the hazard game by itself because it's also a rapid spinner. So good. So he's doing well with his speed tiers. He's doing well with Forretress and his hazard game here. I would like to see, again, attackers, if there was a little bit less of them that were very weak, is kind of my main concern here. I can't remember if this division has Iron Moth available. You do have a Slowking already, but having a variety of attackers as far as typings, because you have technically some typing balance here with the defensive stuff, but it's just nice to be able to have different typings for your primary attackers to give you some good options there. Still, I'm liking this team quite a bit, besides the fairy weak thing. I've used this Forretress Galarian Slowking core a lot. I think it's a pretty nice team overall. Terra Zarude and Dragapult. The other thing, by the way, we got to kind of look at is just broken shit. Sometimes just having a couple of really top-heavy broken mon can kind of carry you through, having Tinkatuff as your fairy resist, etc. I think he has a really nice top-heavy team as far as the Dragapult and the Zarude. Even having Keldeo, Ogerpon, Landorus are all really good offensive mon. He's got special as well as physical. It looks like he's more physical with his attackers. Keldeo is kind of his primary special attacker, it looks like. Dragapult can be special. It's only, I think, 100 base attack, but has some high base power, Draco Meteor, and can be specs and things like that too. I think for now, we're going to put this as, I do like this one better than Lucario Man's team. I think I'm going to start out with putting him as an A. If he had a better variety of Again, his attacking typing, I don't want to keep harping on that forever. I could see him being an S team because he's got a lot of broken shit. But again, we're starting somewhere and we're moving on. So we're going to move on to Team 3 now. Team 3 is Endless and the Indiana Sneasler. Okay. So let's check it out here. He was able to get the round 1 Valiant Terra Wellspring in round 2, which is one of the best Terra captains in the game. Kind of similar to Twisted, where he got one of the best Terra captains and one of the top 3 or so best Mon in his first round there. So that's really nice to see. Deoxys speed, oftentimes first round pick, but a lot of people just don't value it very well or draft it very high. So getting Deoxys speed in 3rd round is really nice. He's got a couple of things that I've really enjoyed, like lower tier with Tinkaton and Cyclizar. Certainly they can be used in not just lower tier. They've got a lot of good utility to those Mon. I really liked using them both. Blood Moon, one of the better ground types available, does lack some benefits of other types of ground types, and I'll talk about that a little bit more, but he's got, I think, those things covered here. A lot of times people are relying on their ground type to be like a hazard setter with Stealth Rocks or Spikes. He's got Spikes and Toxic Spikes with Quillfish. He's got Spikes and Stealth Rock with Deoxys. He's got Rocks with Tinkaton. So he's just fine as far as his hazard game. Removal though, let's take a look at the removal. Okay, he's got Cycle. Cycle is a very nice spinner. Does he have any other ones I'm missing? It doesn't necessarily need any other ones, but Cycle is a good hazard removal option there for him. Yeah, I haven't talked at all about, he does have secondary Terra Captain Armarouge. It can be a really nice Terra Captain, either kind of leveraging its ability with Flash Fire, with like a Terra Grass or something to really just be something that's kind of hard to break. Can do some Calm Mind setup. It also has what's it called? Weak armor. So if it's taking physical hits, this thing can get really fast, really quick, and potentially do some endgame sweeping. So it's a really nice Terra Captain to have. And he's got Indeedee at the end, which at first glance helps out with Armarouge quite a bit with Expanding Force. That also helps out with Deoxys speed potentially, who can also get Expanding Force. So Indeedee seems like a decent support Mon for those two anyways. And I guess it gives him a normal type as well. Let's have a look at the kind of the specifics here as far as the prep doc. Okay, so got very fast Deoxys speed. I mean, a lot of times having a 120 like this for Cyclizar is fast enough. 116, a 110, a 95. So his top end speed is really good. Very fast team overall. Almost a little concerning that it's too fast, but he kind of has. There's a gap between the 75 and the 52, but this is kind of. I think it's kind of most important to have like the 100, 90, 80, 70. It's nice to have like the 60s as well, just because why not? So it's not as huge of a deal. It would be nice to have some other things kind of filling out the lower speed tiers, but he does have Ursulina Blood Moon at the bottom of the speed tiers, which is nice because it gives him that option to kind of help deter Trick Room abuse from certain Mon. Let's go to typing chart here. Okay, so he got some red up here as far as duplicate types, which I'm not sure that matters. Down below here, we don't have any red, which is really nice. Ultimately, this line here at the bottom is just kind of their differential score on how many resists or weaknesses or immunities do you have to any given type. And so having it yellow or green, I mean, green obviously is better. Yellow is fine too. Most people have a little bit of red here. So this one is covered. It's covered pretty well. No rock type, who cares? 3 psychic types, a little bit much. One of them is a normal type, which helps a little bit. 3 normal types as well, okay, which helps to balance out the psychic types with the ghost weakness there. 0 ice, nobody really cares about. No flying. I guess that would be in no bug. Who really cares about bug as far as a defensive thing anyways? That would be a kind of one of my main concerns, I guess, with this team is it would just be nice to have another ground immunity. He's got Rotom. Rotom obviously immune, can pivot. That's great. Let's see how many weaknesses he has to ground. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Has the immunity though. Has the resist with Wellspring. So it would be nice to have one more, I think. That would make me feel a little bit better to have one more. Rotom also not like a top quality ground immunity necessarily. It certainly is functional, and I know all the Rotoms are good, but I think that would be kind of the one thing that I'd like to see to help improve this team somehow, is if there was somehow another good ground immunity that could be factored in here. But again, he's got the Terra Wellspring, he's got the Rotom, he can certainly make it work there. Has a lot of that top end good stuff with the Valiant, the Terra Wellspring, and the Deoxys especially sticking out. I think it's a pretty good team. I don't feel like I'm ready to go S tier yet here, just because of, again, the ground immunity situation kind of would be my biggest concern keeping me out there. Do I like it better than Twisted Games' team here? Let me look at them close together here real quick. So he doesn't have that glaring fairy weakness for all of his attackers. He's got a good variety of top end attackers, like these three kind of being his main attackers, I would guess. Blood Moon. So he has a good variety of typing with his type attackers. He has less good situation as far as ground immunities. I think I would rank this one the highest so far. So let's put Indiana Sneaslers above the Chicago Bolthunds as an A for now, and let's see who we've got in for our fourth team. So we've got Bacher and the new Toxic Koffing. So yikes. Okay, so and that's a good yikes, I think. I'm just looking at the top ones here. Spectrier, super good mon. One that's really can get out of hand quick unless you really plan for it. Its main weaknesses, I guess, are just being that it's got kind of a shallow move pool. It does have things that it can do, and it's got good bulk, good speed, good everything. So it can kind of work around things. Zachmander loves his Spectrier. A lot of other people do well with it too. Two of some of my favorites right after that as well. Gouging Fire, really strong second round pick. Sometimes goes first round. I've taken it first round. Quaquaval is quickly becoming one of my favorites there in spot number 3. Terra Iron Boulder, another great Iron Boulder. A lot of people just say it's a fraud. I've never really used it that much, to be honest. My understanding is that kind of the Terra adds quite a bit there. It's very fast, great speed tier, booster speed with a Swords Dance can really put it into good end game cleaning situation. Having Terra to get rid of its weaknesses really makes that a lot more threatening there. Zapdos, a great defensive monopivot. Crocodile is really nice for a ground type Fez. A couple of steel types are looking a little bit shaky there with Cobalion and Bastiodon. Bastion probably has some niche situations where it can come. Cobalion can come as well. Cobalion is just kind of it's called like a fake steel sometimes. It's a steel type, but it's a steel type that doesn't resist fairy and doesn't resist flying, which is good for it. It's good typing for itself, I guess. But if you want to use it as like a defensive pivot or a switch into some of your fairy weaknesses, it's not as good at that as some others. He does have Terra on it, which is cool. Let's take a look at. Let's take a look. Also, I'm forgetting. Let's look at the hazard game. Rapid Spinner and Quaquaval. Quack doesn't always love to be the only rapid spinner, but it certainly can do it, and I've certainly had it on teams where it's doing that as well. I think that's the only removal. He's got Spidops for when he wants to bring in webs. He has spikes with Spidops. He's got rocks with Cobalion. I don't think he has a toxic spike user. Bastiodon has rocks as well, I'm sure. Crocodile is rock. So he has a number of good rock setters, which is good. And he does have spikes as an option. It would be nice to have a spiker that's better than Spidops, but you can't have everything necessarily. Let's look at the... So that all that's to say is that the hazard game is not quite as strong as some of the others we've seen so far. Let's have a look at the speed tiers here. 130, 120, 108, 110, 90s. So he's got really good top end speed all the way down to 85. And below that, it's bullshit. No one's going to respect Spidops. No one's going to respect Bastiodon. So the problem here, I mean, maybe that's enough to deter a Trick Room, but otherwise, like the Ursaluna team, let's bring in like a Trick Room Ursaluna, and you'll just plow through this whole fucking team. But the problem is, beyond just like the potential Trick Room abuse, which isn't really a huge threat, honestly. There's only so many good Trick Room abusers out there and teams that have that as an option. It's just limiting your opponent and being able to build. So, for example, if I have, what is Raging Bolt? Raging Bolt's like an 80, I think, or 75. I can't remember. It's less than Quaquaval. I have no reason to put any speed investment into my Raging Bolt because I'm not going to outspeed Quaquaval either way. I'm not going to outspeed anything up here on this half of the team. So that just allows me to go for like a max HP Raging Bolt or whatever else. But essentially that's kind of the main reason for the speed tiers is just to help limit your opponent's ability to build bulky against you. So his opponents can go pretty bulky against him in most weeks, I guess. So kind of the main things I'm seeing that I don't like about this team so far are speed tiers aren't the best at the low end. Honestly, his hazard game is fine. I'm comparing it, I guess, to the others who are a bit better there. But his hazard game is fine. He's got the broken shit. He's gotten the speed. So those are definitely pluses there. Let's have a look at typing chart. Is he missing any really crucial types? I don't think so. He does have some weaknesses here. So he's got a -3 for water, a -3 for ground, which we don't love to see. Let's have a look at what those are. Iron Boulder is going to be adding to both of those. Okay. So this is another thing to look at too. He's got Bastiodon, who's adding a lot to his weaknesses, I think. He's probably not going to bring Bastiodon. We kind of have to take with a grain of salt what these lower tier Mon are and how often they're going to be coming. So really his water weakness, for example, is Iron Boulder and Crocodile, and everything else is neutral to water. He does kind of have minimal water resists, though. His Quaquaval is his only water resist. So he doesn't have a lot of things that he can switch in to take a jet punch or something like that. So typing wise, I'm not sure it's terrible. The other one was ground, I think. So his Fez is weak to ground. Gouging Fire is weak to ground. Cobalion's weak to ground. So he's got three grounds. He's got Zapdos kind of as his main, his only ground immunity, I think. So that's probably factoring into it. This is double weak to ground. So I think, again, it's artificially putting that score up. Spidops is a ground resist, but it's usually just going to be a suicide lead if it comes. So it would be nice to get a little bit more ground support, I think, for this team. I will say that compared to Endless's team, for example, Zapdos is like a top tier switch in for ground immunity. It's really nice, bulky top tier Mon, whereas Rotom is serviceable, but not quite as good. So despite only having one on each of these teams, he does have the better one for that. Despite that, I'm sorry. Let's look real quick at the attacking types. So he's got physical, mostly physical attackers. He does have one of the best special attackers. He's got Zapdos as well. He has some other special attacking support with like Fezandipity. Would be nice maybe to have a little bit more of a balance of special attacks. I have a similar team with Gouging Fire and Quaquaval in another league where I'm also in a similar situation of not having many special attackers, which can be fine. But we're being picky just so that we can kind of rank you guys amongst each other. I think that this team has I think it's a great team still. I'm trying to decide if I want to put it above or below Twisted. Um, let me take a look here next to each other again. So Twisted, I think he does have a good variety of resist as far as his top tier attackers, as far as weaknesses and things like that. I think Twisted is a little bit stronger as far as just the fundamentals go. So I'm going to put him as an A below Chicago Bolthunds for now, anyways. Next we have TK Sanity and the Charlotte Eiscue. So let's have a look here. Darkrai, that was my first round pick. Terra Raging Bolt in the second round is a really nice, again, one of the best Terra captains. He got Gliscor afterwards. Gliscor is a really annoying Pokemon. Nice ground immunity as well. Gliscor and Alomomola, I'm seeing, that's going to be kind of a really annoying core. Obviously, Gliscor is weak to water and ice. And is that it? I think that's it. Alomomola is eating both of those pretty easily, so this thing can come in and take hits for that. Gliscor is immune to electric as well as neutral to grass. You've got Raging Bolt as well that complements the weaknesses on Alomomola. So Alomomola seems like a really nice piece at just so far looking at these first couple to kind of tie them together. We got Rotom. It's kind of a second fastest Mon so far. Okay, I'm sorry, I said Rotom. And I meant Ogerpon Hearthflame. I'm not sure why I said Rotom. Still thinking about that Rotom on Endless's team, I guess. Really nice secondary attacker. One weakness, I guess, with Hearthflame is it is Stealth Rock weak and cannot wear boots. So it's kind of important to have, in my opinion, some good removal option to make it really viable. And skipping ahead a little bit, I don't see that he has hazard removal, which some people say, who cares about hazard removal? And maybe they're right. For me, you've got 120 points. You got to have something at least for hazard removal. Does he have a defogger somewhere that I'm missing? So no hazard removal on this team. Good defensive core here. I'm counting Raging Bolt in the defensive core. Just it could be a bulky pivot. It can benefit a lot from wish support. Hearthflame, he's got a grass that is not weak to ice, which is nice for these guys. He resists fairy for these top two, which is good. He's got a good fairy killer with Metagross. Florges is a really nice wall. He's got a nice little, it looks like he kind of just decided at the end, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go Sun Team. Walking Wake is still around. Got a second dragon and a second water, and he has Volbeat, Volbeat, maybe go back a couple years in Mr. TJP's video history, and you can see a really great Volbeat match where I just totally cooked him with Volbeat. Volbeat is a fun little 1-point mon anyways, but not sure it's coming every week, but it's a really nice little disruptor. Let me take a look at the other chart here, but at first glance, he has a lot of really good mon, a really good amount of offense here. He doesn't have hazard removal as my first glance what my issue is. Let's go to Team 5. Okay, speed tier. He's got the 120 plus. He's got the 110. He's got an almost 110. He's got the 100, 90, 80, 70s, 65. These, as far as like builds, because most of the stuff that you're speed creeping with is 70 is kind of like the lower cutoff. Nobody's going to speed creep Alomomola. I mean, maybe they will, but it's like not really. You don't have to worry about like a max speed Alomomola. You might have to worry about a max speed Metagross or Raging Bolt. Speed tiers are okay. Would be nice to see. I do personally like to have that, at least that one that's kind of down there at 50. Minor gripe, not a huge deal. Let's look at kind of the balance of attacks here. Speed tiers are decent. We got strong special attacker, very strong special attacker with Ninetales. Very strong fire abuser with Ninetales up. Great defense. Another dragon. So he does have a lot of kind of fairy weak, I guess. Again, Bolt, Kintera, Darkrai, Walking Wake, Raging Bolt, all kind of fairy weak. And that's kind of also something by design with the game a little bit, I think, too. Is just that certain typings are certain speeds or certain offensive versus defensive, etc. But we are a little fairy weak. We do have Ogerpon as a fast fairy resist attacker, so I do like that. And great defensive core. Let's have a look at typing chart over here. Mostly good, slight ghost weakness, but not really. He's got one resist and one weakness. Rock weakness, so Iron Boulder team we just looked at is going to be good into this one. I'm guessing his only resist is Metagross for rock. Does he have a ground type? Okay, his ground type is Gliscor. His Gliscor is a ground type that does not resist rock, which is part of why that score is higher. Volbeat is kind of factoring in here. But Volbeat's not going to come very often, so it's not really that big of a deal. So really his rock weaknesses are Ninetales and Ogerpon. I don't think that that's a huge deal. Again, Metagross is the only resist, but he's got Alomomola, he's got Gliscor. They can take rock moves really easily. Florida is a great special wall. Yeah, this team has really scary offense. And you got to figure out a way to slow down the hyper offense here with the Sun, obviously, and Wake and Ogerpon. I do wish that there was at least some option for hazard removal. And did he have all the other important types? Like, is there a poison type on this team? I don't think that there's a poison type on this team. So let's look at the types that are missing. He's missing a fighting type, missing a ghost. Don't care. Grounded poison is one that is really nice to have, because this team has no hazard removal and it has no spinner, it has no defog. So this is a team that you can just abuse toxic spikes into. If you can figure out a way to slow down this offense a little bit and get some hazard stack out on this, it can be worn down quite quickly. He's going to be forced to kind of wear boots on things that maybe he doesn't want to wear boots on, or use a Terra Poison Raging Bolt or something like that to absorb spikes. But that's kind of my main issue with this team, I guess. I do like the team. I do think it's a very scary team to play against, and it's going to get a lot of wins. But it does just have some of those essentials that are kind of weaknesses for it. I'm kind of thinking B tier for this team so far. Let me compare this one to Lucario Man here. Lucario Man's team is like okay, but it just feels weird to me. I know that that's weird to say, especially when I'm talking about fundamentals and things like that. It just doesn't have any particular. It does have like the terrain, but the rest of the Mon just don't really feel like they have a huge synergy going on. Again, not a bad team. I do think though that I like the synergy better on. Where are we at? On the Charlotte Eiscue here. So I'm going to rate Charlotte Eiscue a little bit above El Paso Pokemon Club here. Very scary team, huge threats. Again, if you're not prepared for these threats, you're just going to get 6-0'd by Walking Wake or Terra Raging Bolt every week. But he does have some exploitable issues that a good player can take advantage of. We go on to team number 6, the Ryuken Legacy with Archmite. I do have to say too, Arch came in kind of mid-draft here. So I think he came in like round 4 or 5. So a lot of these Mon were already picked for him. He was able to make some changes in grace period. But he was kind of working with somebody else's team and with less than he wanted to probably be working with to kind of fix some holes here. So that said, first glances here, before we look at the specifics. He's got Golden Go, who is the most unique mon, I think, available, obviously with its ability, not allowing status moves to be used on it, being the best hazard blocker that there is. Really strong special attacker, as well as bulky mon, as well as a status spreader. Only mon of that type as well. It's a steel type that's immune to fighting, which is really nice. He's got Landorus with that as well, which is mostly just weak to ice. Goldie's a good resist for that. Infernape is not really a resist, but kind of is a resist, I guess, in this part. He's building a little bit of speed here. This is a 108, I think, and a 115. He enters into a rain mode, which could potentially help Raikou with Thunder, as well as boosting Scalds. Rillaboom, Hatterene, Terrabasket Legion, so he's going back into that rain mode a little bit. He was asking for some advice, and I kind of recommended this one. He got this one off of the waiver wire. Overquill is his grounded poison. He's got 2 grounded poisons, I guess, but Overquill is a really nice, really good synergy piece for this team. I'm not just hamming it because I recommended it, but he has obviously Golden Go, who's the best hazard blocker in the game. He has a rain mode. Overquill can do Hazard Stack City to help out with a Golden Go hazard plan, and it also has Swift Swim, and it can help out and be a sweeper when you're playing rain mode. So I do like that. He's got Terra Smeargle, so anything that I say that he doesn't have, he has it. He has it in Smeargle if he wants to bring Smeargle. And if Smeargle can live a hit, then he can be a rapid spinner or a spiker or whatever we might be missing here. Interesting looking team. I do like that he does have a couple of synergies here with the rain, as well as, again, Overquill adding to the Golden Go. Let's see how we're looking with our type board here. He's team number 6. Okay. So Raikou's our fastest mon, which I guess is okay. 115 is kind of where I feel okay at 115 being your fastest mon, but I'd rather it be 120. Nitpicky a little bit there. He goes to 101, 85, not a terrible jump. I think I have some teams where it's a lot worse than that. 70s, 60s, 65. He's got a couple slow ones there. So his speed tiers are really pretty good. They're not as perfect as, I can't remember whose it was that we saw earlier, but they're pretty good. He's got the Slowpoke at the bottom. No one's in an abuse Trick Room into Hatterene. Let's have a look at his hazard game here too. So he has obviously Hatterene, who can just deter you from using them in general. Does he have a spinner? Again, not everybody agrees about having a spinner like I do. I think it's important. So I think that Smeargle is his only spinner, unless I'm missing something. Does he have a... does not have a defogger either. So he's mostly relying on Hatterene to be a hazard deterrent, which is fair. He has Smeargle in case of emergency. I'm glad that he at least has Hatterene. I would like to see a stronger spinner, I think, on this team. Would make me feel a little bit better. Okay, let's kind of look at the typings of his attackers. So he's got Raikou and Infernape. Both are weak to ground. Then he's got Landorus and Rillaboom, who are immune or resist ground. He's got a couple of ice weaknesses there with Lando and Rillaboom, resist and Infernape, Golden Go. So a little bit of a ground weakness. Again, he's got Rillaboom though, so Rillaboom is taking away the earthquake issue. Of course, there are other ground moves that can be devastating too. Overquill also weak to ground. So we're seeing a lot of Dragalge. I haven't looked yet at the typing chart. We're going to get there. It feels like there's a little bit ground weak here. He does have Pelipper. He does have Landorus. So he's got two immunities, and he has Rillaboom as a resist, who also supports the rest of the team with ground immunity. So maybe it's not terrible. But let's have a look Oh, okay, so it doesn't work out as terrible as I thought it was looking at all those, because he does have some good supports there. So he's actually fine according to this. He's properly balanced out his ground weaknesses. At the same time, it's a little bit concerned to have 5 out of your is it 10 melodies got rostered here, or did he go 11? Half of his team essentially is weak to ground. He does have those immunities, but still there are ways to exploit that, especially you know, something like a Mammo Swine, which there's only one Mammo Swine, but you got ice for Landorus, you got ground for everything else. You got ice for that. People can kind of abuse some of those things with Terra Captains as well in open Terra situations. So I don't like having that many of them, even though it is technically he's done what he's needed to do to balance them out. He's a little bit weak to rock, a little bit weak to ice. So you have all of his essential types, everything it looks like besides rock, ice, and bug, which are the 3 that I really don't care about. So he has like all the types that he wants to have. Okay. So I do feel like his fastest attackers aren't super strong without items and stuff. I mean, like Raiku's okay, Infernape is okay. Neither of them just has like raw power. What I really like to see in a draft is like one of your fastest mons being just a really strong attacker who can just come in and apply pressure to revenge kill, or to just immediately start pressuring things. These can do that. I just think that they're it's not a I'm being gripey overall because all these teams are pretty good, and so I'm kind of just nitpicking to separate them a little bit here. So I would like to see a stronger attacker up top. He does have good breaking power with Landorus. Golden Go can break. Terrabastia Legion. Maybe there is the answer to your speed, and that's what I'm not really thinking about there, is he has his rain mode. So when he's got his rain mode up, he's got 2 swift swimmers. Terrabastia Legion is going to break stuff. Can't use adaptability with Swift Swim, but it'll be able to abuse water moves really easily, as well as Ghost, as well as whatever it decides to Terra into. It can do a stab Terra on water and just go, Choice Band, blow up everything without a water resist. So that's good. So that helps out with the speed situation a little bit, as far as having those really top end bruisers that can come in and do some damage without setup. So yeah, I guess my main concern was that, as well as Smeargle being your hazard removal. Maybe he doesn't care about hazards. Maybe he's just going to go rain mode, hyper offense, blow you up before hazards can take effect and chip you down. He does have the Hatterene. I do, despite him coming in with his team and doing his best to fix it, I think he did a pretty decent job in fixing it, really. Some holes there, obviously. I do like the team. I think it's a good team. Let's have a look here. My mind is saying like a B right now. Is kind of what I'm thinking compared to what we've tiered other things at so far. Let's see though what kind of a B that would be. So the other B's would be, I do like this one better than Lucario Man's. I just think it has better synergy, I think, overall. Although Lucario Man does have some better kind of top end speedy threats with like Iron Bundle Terra, Hawlucha Ogerpon. Sorry, I'm getting lost here. I do like that he's got the hazard mode he can tap into if he wants to as well. Really, he needs hazard removal. And if he had some stronger speedsters outside of Rain, that would be really nice. So I think I got him above Lucario Man. I think TK Sanity here has also, coincidentally, I guess, another strong kind of weather mode available to him. So I'm I think that these are similar in that neither of them has a really strong hazard removal. I think I'm tempted to go, so like TK Sanity's to me, it just feels like more immediately threatening, I guess. And I'd be more scared of playing this team, I guess, than playing this team. I do feel like Arch has at least a grounded poison. I think that this team, even though it's got really scary offense, I do think that the fundamentals are worse. And so I'm going to... Where's Arch at? We're going to move him up to the highest B so far. We're going to move him above Charlotte Eiscue. We move on to 7, which is Dr. VR 79. Is that your birth year? You don't have to tell me. I'm old too. Not that old. Let me see here. So, keep clicking on the wrong tabs here. Okay, so we are going to go to Team 7 out of our 14. Recording this because my daughter's napping. She's probably going to wake up soon. So hopefully we can get halfway done anyways. So Dr. VR took Regieleki, Terra Captain Regieleki, which is banned a lot of places. It's banned because it hits everything really hard with electric moves, with its ability. It's the fastest mon in the game. Adding Terra and having the fastest mon in the game with whatever typing that you want to pick apart a certain team. Terra Ice is the obvious one that is used, in general competitive for helping you take out grounds that resist electric. It's a very good abusable Terra Captain. It's certainly worthy of a number 1 pick. It's banned a lot of places. We decided that it was okay to use. We've played in formats before where Terra Regieleki is allowed, and it's okay. It's good. It's not totally broken, or hasn't been so far. Maybe Dr. VR will abuse it and make me change my mind there. Let me actually go back and I like seeing the order that you pick things into, so I can kind of go through your mind as you're drafting this, because the other tab here just organizes everything. So he got super, super fast. He came back to round 2, and there was still Meowscarada. Mid round 2, Meowscarada is, in my opinion, like a top 5 pick, top 7 or 8 pick, depending. I guess with broken Terra options available in this format, maybe it slips down a little bit farther, but it's a really, really good pick. So snagging it in round 2 is awesome. He got Primarina in round 3, which is an acceptable round 3 pick. Latias and Moltres, I haven't been super impressed by. I did use Latias before, and even in like a limited format, it was just kind of lacking. It is a good speed tier and has Healing Wish, which is nice. Moltres is cool, but it's allergic to rocks. Terrakion is a really nice secondary captain, I will say. Speedy and brute force physical attacker, paired with his usually specially attacking but can be physically attacking Regieleki Terra Captain. That's a really nice secondary Terra Captain. We've got Excadrill for spinning, Entei just for fire. Does he have a sand setter? Is he going to do manual sand? He's got the Houndstone and the Excadrill I'm seeing anyways. Do not like Orthworm as your steel type, but we'll get into that. And he's got Thwacky. What's going on with Thwacky here? Thwacky is helping Meowscarada maybe, or just it seems weird. Maybe he's ground weak. Maybe I'll see that when we go to the other slides a little bit better. I don't see Thwacky coming that often, and I'm not sure what his intention was here. I'm kind of interested to see what he'll do with that. Let's look kind of at his hazard game, because that's what I've been doing. Regieleki can spin. Usually you don't want Terra Regieleki to be your only spinner anyways. Excadrill is a solid spinner. Doesn't have defog, but doesn't really need it. Hazard setting. Meowscarada has spikes as well as toxic spikes. I believe he's got Stealth Rock on Terrakion. He's got Stealth Rock on Excadrill. Orthworm can do Stealth Rock as well as spikes, I believe, too. So he does have adequate hazard removal and threats. Let's look more at the specifics here with the doc. 200. Okay. Well, duh. That's Regieleki. It's the fastest mon in the game. So yeah, he's got that. He's got the best top end speed you can have. And then even without looking at this, he's got his 120. He's got his 110. He's got a 100. He's got a mid 100 there. So great top end speed. 90, 80, basically 70, basically 60. So he's got really, again, other than my nitpicky, it would be nice to have something in the red down in the 40s or 50s. He's got really good speed tiers here. This is really nice speed tiers. I don't think people are really going to trick room abuse too hard on this, but watch out for the Ursaluna team, I guess. Let's look at kind of the quality and typing of his fastest attackers. Meowscarada, Regieleki, he's got usually physical. Again, it's usually special, just because the special electric moves are usually better, I think, to use. But watch out for that. I mean, one way people deal with Regieleki is just to strap on an AV, and it's not doing too much. You can go physical on this as well, and Terra Blast physical, or Supercell Slam. There are things you can do for a physical Regieleki. Not everybody's always prepared for. Either way, good there. Meowscarada, another great physical attacker. He's got Latias, who's special at 110. He's got Terrakion, who's physical at 108. So he's got good special down here. So he's got a good mix of special versus physical as far as his attackers go. I like to see that. Let's see what else here. As far as his attackers being all weak to the same thing, he does not have a completely Fairy Weak team. Got a couple of Fairy Weaks. That's okay. Got Fairy Resist here. Got Fairy Resist here. We like that Dr. VR is not going to get swept by Fairies as easily as some other teams. I guess Terrakion is also Fairy Weak. So maybe he will. Maybe he does have 3 Fairy Weaks after all. He's got the Resist, though, which I like. So he's got some good compliments there. Okay, so that all looks kind of good. The typing chart here, does he have all of the crucial types? He does not have a grounded poison. No normal, which is okay. No ice, no bug. Weakness-wise, he's a little bit weak to ghost, just because it looks like he's got 1 resist and 2 ghost weaknesses. Who are his ghost weaknesses? Houndstone, which I'm guessing doesn't come a ton, unless he's got like a surprise, unless he just wants to spin block in any given week. Who is his resist is Meowscarada. I guess I don't really want Meowscarada, if it was me, to be my ghost resist. So having a ghost resist would be really nice. Finding a normal to put on the team or a secondary dark would be really nice, I think. Despite the fairy stuff I saw, he's good. He's got more resists and weaknesses for fairy. Let's kind of look at the quality of some of these key typings. Okay, I was making fun of Orthworm being his steel type. I totally glazed over that he had Excadrill, so he's good on steel type. He's missing that grounded poison. And did he have a spinner? Oh, you're right, Excadrill. Why am I'm starting to lose it here. So good. He's got Excadrill as a spinner. Regieleki's a spinner. Good hazard game. We already discussed. It would still be nice to have a grounded poison. I'm trying to think. That's kind of my main gripe with the team, I guess, is it would be nice to have a grounded poison. I would say too, do we need Orthworm? It might be nice just to get a nice. Do we need Thwacky? These feel kind of unnecessary. Again, I don't know what Dr. VR's plan is. He certainly could be cooking here, and I have to leave room for that. But ultimately, when I'm grading, I got to grade on what I'm seeing. And it doesn't feel like Thwacky or Orthworm is especially helpful here. He's got the spin blocker. I don't know why he wants Orthworm. And let's just have a secondary steel type. I'm trying to see, does he have any other huge weaknesses? He's got a couple of ground weaknesses, ground immunities already. It's a couple of ground weaknesses, I guess, too. So he does have 1, 2, 3, 4 ground weaknesses for attackers. A couple of them can Terra. 1, 2 good resists there. So maybe he's just trying to balance out his ground resists. I still feel like I would want to, and maybe that's why Thwacky's here too. Again, I still kind of think you get Thwacky and Orthworm and turn those in for a decent poison type. You could even go a grass poison type, like a Vileplume if it's available, even a Mungus. My boy Gloom, the greatest 1-point Terra Captain ever. Not that he has Terra budget, but that would be my biggest issue is it seems like there's kind of some wasted stuff going on here at the bottom. his top couple, he's got a lot of good kind of consistent attackers in here. I'm not seeing a ton of just like broken stuff other than Regieleki and Meowscarada. Again, I'm getting a little bit picky here, just to kind of separate things. I do like this team, but again, no poison, not as many broken things as I would like. Where do we rank this? I am again thinking B, where B's might be getting a little bit thick here. We might have to straighten these out a little bit later. I kind of feel like let's again have a quick look at these next to each other. So here's who we're comparing him to. Is he better than Arch? I kind of feel like Arch has better synergy overall. Even like the Houndstone. The Entei is nice, sort of, but even like the Entei, I feel like we've got some good mon in here, but there's not as good of a synergy. So I kind of feel like Arch is better than this one. Is it better than TK Sanity? Again, TK Sanity's got those kind of fundamentals issues, but it's a very scary team. I think this is a good team. I'm going to put it because we're both missing a grounded poison, I think, right? For this one, he at least Dr. VR at least has Excadrill and hazard removal. These are really pretty close. I kind of want to put it above. I'm gonna put it below. I'd be kind of what I'm going on as a tiebreaker is my gut instinct on like, do I want to fight against this team or do I want to fight against this team? This team has some more fundamentals that I can exploit, but it also might just blow the shit out of me before I have a chance to exploit them. So we are going to put Dr. VR as a B above El Paso. And we're going to move on to pick number 8, which is Praetor in the Machesney Park Slowpokes. So, before we get into the nerd doc, good Terra Captain there with Urshifu Rapid, Sceptile and Zangoose. I almost shrugged off Zangoose, except for I got Belly Drum swept by one not super far ago. So it can be very good, but I kind of feel like it's kind of niche. Sceptile, I feel like, is a piece of shit. He does have Galarian Wheezing. He can do like a terrain thing with Sceptile. Sceptile is already 120 base speed. He's got Chi-Yu, which is very scary. Iron Treads, like the second best spinner. Urshifu, great attacker. Wheezing is a wonderful fairy. Latios in round 5 is really nice. Sui and Zoroark is pretty good too. It can be a lot of fun. Iron Hands is good. So he's got Rotom Heat, which is very nice. So he has a lot of what I call like a real Pokemon on this team. Sceptile and Zangoose. Again, I got swept by a Zangoose, so I don't want to talk too much trash, but it's one that's these are kind of like situational. We're going to bring in a Sceptile this week with our terrain and go for a sweep, or we're going to exploit IM Destroyer by doing a Belly Drum Zangoose this week, make him look like an idiot, and it'll work. But these are not Mon that are coming every week. But other than these two, the rest of the Mon all look really strong and like that they could be coming every single week if they want to. Does a Praetor have a Rapid Spinner? Of course he does. He's got Iron Treads. He's got a Defogger as well. We're just going through our hazard game here. We have Rocks. We have Toxic Spikes. That's it. So he's got the one Rocker. So he's going to be, Iron Treads is going to be bringing Rocks most week if he wants them. It's nice to have a secondary Rock option. I think 2 Rock options is really nice. Do we have Spikes that I'm missing? I don't think we've got Spikes. We do have the Toxic Spikes. So hazard game isn't super strong. I know a Praetor, and he just doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit about nerdy hazards, which is fair. Not really his play style, and he can do very well without them. But again, I am basing this on fundamentals, not on what I know about these coaches. Let's have a look at his speed tiers. Oh, he's got Sceptile. Again, we're not really scared of Sceptile. It's 120. Who cares? So, for example, unless you bring a Sceptile, if you have a really strong fast attacker that's like a 111, like a Thundy or a Tornadus or something, or whatever, you can potentially go through his team unless he's got good speed control options there. So I don't love that Sceptile is the fastest Mon. It's not unforgivable. 110 is still a respectable tier for his next couple. He's got good breaking power. Chi-Yu and Urshifu are really good, both really good breakers. Iron Hand is a really good breaker. I'm sorry, I need to take a pause here. You won't notice me missing, but I'm going to be missing. Okay, guys, back again here. Yeah, we're kind of discussing the breaking power that a Praetor has in this team here. His Chi-Yu, his Terra Urshifu, potentially his Belly Drum Zangoose, or his Iron Hands. He's just got a really good amount of breaking power here. I like some of the offensive and defensive synergy that he has going on. For example, Latios and Chi-Yu work pretty good together. At least Latios is covering Chi-Yu's weaknesses pretty good. A little bit back the other way, although it's not resisting Dragon and Fairy. Iron Treads and Latios is actually another really good combination there. Yeah, I just like this. Other than the Sceptile up here, these quick attackers here, Iron Hands, Wheezing, a really good bunch. I guess if I was to complain about something, because I'm complaining about all of these teams, I wish that we had something other than Terra Sceptile as our top speed tier here, and then that would make me really happy. But I do really like this team. I really like all the teams so far, to be honest. I'm just kind of being nitpicky because I've got to separate them somehow. But let's go back to the board here. Whoa. I also would like to kind of re-tier this a little bit now that we're beyond the halfway point here. First of all, though, I think I kind of want to put the Slowpokes, a Praetor here. I feel like it feels similar in power to me to these two. Let's take a look here at the Charlotte Eiscue and the Ryuken Legacy here. So I think my main thing with the Eiscue, a lot of great threats, but it was missing obviously the grounded poison as well as the hazard removal. So I was being a stickler about that. Ryuken Legacy had some pretty good kind of little rain core there, as well as some other things, but it kind of lacked a little bit of the breaking power, I think. I mean, it does have Terrabasca Legion and Landorus, so it's pretty good. So I do feel like maybe a Praetor's team here is, I think it's above the Charlotte Eiscue for me. And I'm trying to decide whether or not it's above Ryuken Legacy. I kind of feel like it is for me, to be frank. I think he's got just about everything. I wish he had a faster, better thing than Sceptile. Similar complaint that I had kind of with Raikou. Raikou is better than Sceptile. That's for sure. I think this one is just more flexible outside of rain as well. There's a lot of Mon that I really like on here, and it just feels like a really solid group. So I think I would actually place that the highest of the A's so far. And that's where I kind of want to also look at maybe getting some S's promoted here. I think at this point, I feel comfortable promoting Sneaslers and Bolthunds to S tier. Do we feel good enough about Bakker's team to do the same? We do, I think. He did have a couple little typing vulnerabilities there, but again, a lot of really strong. I mean, look at his top 6, top 7 here. All really great Mon. It drops off a little bit from there. Do wish he had a different steel than Cobalion. Bastion doesn't count as a real Pokemon. yeah, I think we can put Bacher up in S as well. And let's get this crowded B tier thinned out a little bit here. So I'm gonna put these three up in A, and just keep these two in B for now. And let's move on to number 9, and we'll continue to kind of sort these tiers depending on what we see coming up here. So that brings us next to the Fire Gods of Anubis with Zeus here. So let's have a look at his squad. He's got one of my favorite first round picks. I don't know how this fell to him at number 9. Great Tusk might be my favorite draft Pokemon that I've used multiple times. It's just the best spinner, and it's not just a spinner. It's so much more than that. It has such a deep move pool. It can rock. It can be defensive. It can be offensive. It can be both. Sometimes all it takes is a rapid spin. You clear the field of hazards, and then you just use its amazing typing coverage and high-powered stab moves to power through your opponent's team. Beyond that, it looks like he's got Enamorus, Great Fairy, Greninja, so he's got some great top-end speed there too. Good Terra Captains with Ceruledge as well as Sinistra. Grafaiai as well. I do kind of wonder, I'd have to look at the costs and stuff, but is there something else that he could have gotten as maybe a higher tier Terra Captain? I don't think he could have. Like, could he have gone Enamorus and Sinistra? He might have been able to do that. He went Ceruledge, which is also respectable. He's got webs. He's got a couple of poisons. Ground type. He's got, looks like most kind of the major types here. He has spikes and toxic spikes with Greninja. Rocks here. Obviously Cleavor. Rocks there. So he's got plenty of rocks. He's got webs. He does have spikes, although Greninja's not the best spiker. And again, he has the best spinner there, as well as a defog option in Cleavor. So he's got some good stuff there. Let's flip to his team here. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the specifics here. As you can see, pretty fast team overall here. Obviously, Greninja is kind of his premier speed. He's got a 110 with Grafaiai. Not the best 110. Galvantula close. Again, not a super huge offensive threat there, but he does have a 106. And Amorous Monkey-Dory is there as well. Not sure how much more Monkey-Dory is adding other than being a poison. Grafaiai and Monkey-Dory, both decent, but both feel like they're mostly just kind of adding the role of poison. I'm not actually sure if Monkey-Dory gets toxic spikes, or I know that Grafaiai doesn't. Grafaiai is a good utility mon as well, just with its prankster ability, being able to encore and toxic and just all kinds of shenanigans it can kind of pull off there. But speed tiers look pretty good up top there. Gets a little bit, lots of 85s here I see, and we go down to 70. 70 kind of is probably the most crucial one to have. It would be nice to have like some 60s and 50s maybe to kind of really round things out there. Makes it a little bit vulnerable to like a Trick Room or just bulkier mons down there at the bottom. Not really a big deal breaker, I don't think, but just something that would be nice to have. Let's go into the type chart over here and see what that tells us. So he has, I think, the most types out of any team that we've seen so far. Everything except for ice, which is kind of cool. Couple of little weaknesses down at the bottom. A little bit of a rock weakness. A little bit of ice and ground weakness. And a -2 flying weakness being the biggest one there. Let's have a look at that there. So, flying weakness, it's because his rock type is a bug, and his electric type is also a bug here. He really doesn't have it. Doesn't really look like he has a huge weakness. He's got Great Tusk, I guess, and Sinistra, with one real flying resist, which is Archaludon. Sinistra and Terra. I don't think it's really a huge issue there. It seems like a very offensive team overall. Knowing Zeus, that's kind of how he likes to play, is just kind of going all out offense there. Personally, I'd like to see like maybe some more more pivoting options. Like his team seems, I mean, he does have up top here, you can parting shot, U-turn, volt switch. I don't think Enam can pivot. Monkey Dory can pivot. I would just like to see like a defensive pivot of some kind. It's kind of just like, I guess it could just be like a hyper offense type of a situation here, but a defensive pivot would be really nice for this team. But overall, he has a really good wide variety of threats here. He's got hazards. He's got hazard removal. Terra captains are pretty good. I kind of was hoping to see like a Terra Enamorous on this squad would be cool. I don't know, again, without looking too closely at all the points, if that's something that can be made to work. I'm sure he has some kind of a plan in mind. I could see maybe if he, took away Grafii and Saraledge, he could have maybe Enamorous and Sinistra. But again, I'm not looking that closely at the points for this here. Just kind of a suggestion. It'd be really nice to have really top end Terra Captain. But Saraledge is really good. Sinistra is really good too. I like the team. I think it has a good array of threats. For me, again, would just like to see kind of some more defensive pivots, maybe some slower Mons as well to kind of anchor down the bottom. But team is pretty good. So let's see, where do we want to put this? Okay, so I kind of think it's good. I don't. It's not one that strikes me as an S tier as far as just kind of. Part of that is just kind of the visceral. Oh my gosh, this thing is loaded with threats here. I don't see that. I don't get that impression from this team. It has a lot of good stuff, but again, nothing that's really striking. Just feeder into my heart. I'm thinking lower A maybe. Let's kind of compare it to some of our other teams here. Let's compare it to maybe Eiscue as well as Dr. VR. I think, Eiscue, again, they're missing the fight. I keep coming back to them. They're missing some kind of fundamentals, but they just have a lot of other things really, really going for them. I think I would put Zeus's team right around kind of the same spot as Eiscue. I might put it below that. I think I would put that below that, and it's probably a little closer in power to Dr. VR here. So I could either put him, I'll put him as like a low A for now, I think, or could put him as a high B. Let's do that. Yeah, I'm gonna put you high B for now, just because I like having the symmetry here, and we'll kind of again revisit and balance things out as we move along here. So next up brings us to the Bronx Bombirdier, Eli. Eli is known as the Mr. TJP Slayer. He always beats Mr. TJP in draft. He didn't play with us last season, but he has played in MDL quite a bit, so he's a real OG. Shifu is his first round pick. Gengar as a second round feels a little bit early. Not a terrible mon to have. Same with Donphan. Impressed that Palafin somehow fell to round 4 in this draft is really kind of crazy to me. That's usually a first rounder, sometimes a second rounder in almost every draft that I've been in. Excellent value here. Kind of makes up for maybe taking a couple of these other things a little earlier than I would have anyways. Let's have a quick look to sort of at Terra Captains. He's got Superior, a nice contrary abuser as kind of the obvious one if you go Terra Stellar with Superior. Lots of other options, of course, there as well. Garganacle, however you want to pronounce it. Really a monster with Terra. You can do a lot to kind of counterplay against Garg, like Taunt, Covert Cloak and Taunt, and you should probably be fine. but it does force a lot of prep, which is really nice just to have this thing on your bench, if nothing else. So good captains, and then it looks like he's got his Cramorant has been kind of like his trademark low tier mon in the past. So he's got that just to use up his last little points here, it looks like. Looks like hazard-wise, let's look at that. He's got removal, obviously, in Donphan, as well as a rock setter. So he's got both of those boxes checked. He can also set rocks with Garg. Doesn't have a Spiker that I can see. He does have a Toxic Spiker with Gengar here. So hazard game is meeting, I guess, the kind of the minimum expectations. Not really super excelling in any of them. Let's have a look at the typing charts here. He's going to be in Team 12 slot. Okay. So he's lacking a little bit with like the upper end, really high upper end speed anyways. He's got 113 as his highest, which is okay. It would be nicer to be a little bit faster. Got a couple of 110s. Alolan Raichu, I think, is kind of one of those mon that I'd be surprised if this shows up very regularly. It's just pretty weak. I'm sure there's some situations where it can be good and it can be usable, but it's not like a real Pokemon, quote unquote. But he has that speed here with Gengar, who is mostly real. It is a little bit weaker than ideal. I think it's had a lot of fall off over the years after being one of the original OG Battlemon. We have Ninetales. Decent speed, not super highly offensive. Is nice, obviously, to have that that cloak, Aurora Veil, ability. Getting an Aurora Veil up and setting up with a Terra Superior or a Volk or an Urshifu. A number of things can be super scary there. He does have Palafin, which definitely makes up for some of the top end speed loss a little bit with Jet Punch. He has good priority with Urshifu single as well. Let's look at, the speed tiers. So he's got lots and lots of speed. He's got half of his team over 100, 97, 85, 80, kind of a big gap, I guess, down here. He's got some good lower end, obviously, with these ones. I'd love to see something maybe around 70 or in the 60s as well would really help with building and limiting his opponent's builds a little bit. But it's not terrible, I guess. Again, just kind of picking everybody apart as much as I can. Everybody's got pretty good teams. He's got most types here. He's missing a normal. He doesn't have a steel. Ooh, I didn't notice that. Steel, I think, is kind of one of the most helpful and important types to have. It just really helps out with a lot of key resistances. That said, his bottom line here, is a little bit weak to rock. A steel would help with that. Flying weakness, a steel would help with that. Fairy weakness, a steel would help with that. So kind of he has the weaknesses that you would expect for not having a steel type. I'm not sure what steel types are on the board. I guess that would be the biggest thing that I'm noticing that I would want to see different for this team here is maybe drop off like a Alolan Raichu. Don't want to tell you to get rid of your little Cramorant boy here. But if there's something that you can do to bring in like a decent steel piece, I think that would help out quite a bit defensively. I don't think he has a huge fairy weakness. I mean, they had him at -1. He's got Urshifu, I think is kind of where most of that's coming from, as well as Draco. Probably Volcarona is falsely bringing up his rock weakness. The team looks a little bit eclectic to me, to be frank. He does have, again, some really good threats. Palafin, Urshifu, really good. Terra Serp, really good. A lot of this stuff is kind of feels mediocre to me for the most part. A lot of like serviceable, good mon. I would like to see more just like top end, expensive, broken stuff. That's just kind of maybe my personal opinion on what I like to see. Again, being a little bit nitpicky here, so I would like to see kind of just some more top end stuff. I don't know if there's some more stuff available to get. One of these drafts had Iron Moth still available, which would be really cool to see on the team. I could see getting rid of even Gengar and Volcarona and getting an Iron Moth if that's still available. Might be the other division that I'm thinking of. It seems decent for the most part, but it doesn't really, it leaves a little bit to be desired. I want more top end power. His fast Mon aren't super immediately threatening. Kind of with fast Mon, what's really nice is to have something that you can kind of just slap a choice scarf on, have some high base power moves and some high attack, and use that to kind of revenge kill or speed control something that's getting out of control. Alolan Raichu's not doing that. Ninetales is not doing that. Serp eventually can. It's got pretty low attack until it's had a couple of contrary boosts. So I'd like to see something that's fast and has immediate power. Let me, I'm curious here. Do we have, is this the division that Iron Moth is still in here? Show me the Moth. Moth is still available. Kyurem's still available. My boy Dragonite, Baxcalibur. So there are still some high-end options available. Necrozma is available. Honestly, for this team, I know I haven't been looking specifically here, but I was curious about that Iron Moth. I'd really love to see Iron Moth on this team. That would give a 110 that's immediately scary, that you could choice scarf if you wanted to. Do a number of other things. It's better than Volcarona. Volcarona is unfortunately just kind of power crept quite a bit here. I would look at, unless you really want to have Gengar, get a cheaper Ghost maybe, trade in Volcarona and Gengar, get yourself an Iron Moth. It'll meet your fire as well as poison. And it would just make your team kind of a lot scarier overall. Again, I feel bad for what I'm about to do here. I think that, again, team checks off some boxes, but all of these teams honestly are really good so far. I think that this probably is the one that could improve the most. It's meeting most of the essentials, but it's just not as scary as it could be. I want to see Iron Moth. I want to see some more top end threats here, and I feel like this could be a real powerhouse team. And what was the type that we said was missing here? Steel. Get a Steel, get Iron Moth, and you will be cooking with fire for sure here. I've been feeling kind of bad because Lucario Man's team, I put it kind of here, and so far I've liked most of the teams better than his. His team's pretty good. It's just kind of similar to this one in that it's checking the boxes, but it's just really not striking fear into my heart as far as having those really top-end threats that some of these other teams do. Again, these rankings are all kind of in relation to each other, and with everybody doing a really good job, it makes this a little bit more challenging. Let's go to our next team. Which is Psychedelic Supremacy. Okay, so round one Sylveon. I know from recollection, because I'm the one entering in some of these picks, he originally had picked Ursaluna round one, which was a little bit of an eye-opener to me. I do love Ursaluna. He eventually dropped it and got Sylveon. Looks like he was trying to balance out his team a little bit here. Ursaluna is not really a round one pick, even though it's really good. Just at first glance here, Sneasler's great. A lot of these Mon are great. He's got 3 steals in a row. We've got Tyranitar. Iron Crown's good. Glastrier could be good. Could have a little Trick Room core going on here. Murkrow, I'm not sure what that's doing. Could have some utility. I know that Dark One Cometh is usually a doubles player, and so I think some of these picks that he's made, like with the round one Ursaluna, make a lot more sense to me in doubles format. But I'm kind of curious. We'll go look at the specifics here, but I want to look at his basics as far as hazards and removal, like I have been doing. He's got Toxic Spikes. He's got Defog. That's good. He's got more Defog. Stealth Rock and Spikes. So yeah, he has good hazard game. He does have a defogger. I don't see a rapid spinner. For a team like this that has a lot of actually good hazards to where he could be doing like a hazard stack strategy, it would be really nice for him to have a solid spinner instead of only defoggers. I think probably Murkrow gets defogged too. It must, right? But so he has defoggers. He can get rid of hazards, which is good. But he wants to keep his own hazards and get rid of your hazards. So a spinner would be a nice upgrade here. But let's look at this team under our prep doc here. That is the wrong one that I selected there. So we're on 13, I think now. Perfect. Okay. So speed tiers. We got the 120, which we like. We love Sneasler. 101 is the next down. It would be nice to have another Mon faster, I guess, than Sandy Shocks. Yeah, it would be nice to have something in between here, somewhere in the 110 range. Not a deal breaker necessarily, but it's just nice to have more than one kind of speedy option. I usually shoot for a 110 and something higher, or at least two of them that are 110 and above. Gapdos we love. It's a great choice user. Decent speed here, and then we have 91, and we drop all the way down to 67 and 65. So he's got a lot of good low-end speed. I kind of wonder if, again, Trick Room is somewhere in the plans for him here. He does have good priority with Shizor. We'd love to see some different speed tiers kind of in between here just to kind of keep, you know, a 90 base speed Pokemon, for example. Or really, who's respecting Murkrow's speed tier anyway? So really the gap is kind of 98 to 65. You're probably not respecting Corviknight's speed tier. So again, you go back to the Raging Bolt, who can just go max not invest at all in speed and be fine. But yeah, so I would like to see some speed tier fleshing out there a little bit too, as well as some more upper end speed there. Let's look at the type chart here. So I gotta say this type chart is looking rough. Of the teams that we've seen so far, this definitely is missing the most things. Let's look at, he doesn't have a dragon, no fire. Oh, too many flying. I thought it was none. It's too many. No ghost, no grass. These aren't all deal breakers, but interesting to see. No normal. 3 steals, which we love steals. Trade one of those to Eli, who did not have a steal on his team with the last one, and no water type. Water type is a really nice one to have. This is a big kind of unforgivable weakness here, really. He's got 3 Mon that are weak to water and no Mon that are resisting water. So something like Palafin on Eli's team there, the team before, he can just bulk up or choice band or whatever and probably just jet punch through this team. I mean, you're going to meet some resistance with like Corviknight and just his natural bulk, or he can use Terra Captains to kind of make up for that a little bit. But yeah, you look at this team, a little bit of chip damage, and you can just jet punch through or choice scarf, wave crash through. A big problem that needs to be addressed, in my opinion. So yeah, we definitely have issues with the typing. -5 is not good. A little bit of a steel weakness, which is interesting since he has 3 steals. I guess it's the Deontay having a 4 times weakness there. Fire weakness as well. Again, this is saying, give me water. Steel resists water as well. Electric, I guess. That water doesn't help that one. But we have some other types that would be really nice to have here as well. Like a dragon type would also help to resist water as well as electric there. Definitely some rebalancing things that could be done here, I think, to make this a better team. I think this is definitely... I don't think it's beyond loss. I think that there's definitely some good Mon here. I would look at trading out some of these steel types for, again, a water, maybe a dragon. We've got double fairy here as well. I don't know that we need to have double fairy. And getting a spinner as well. I think, yeah, Is Fortress available? No, it's not. Somebody else had Fortress already. I think that this is the team with the most problems so far. And we're going to put him in C tier here. We got some things to work on. The logo here is definitely an S tier logo. Yeah, this one has some things to work on. Some cool mods to work around, but would have been nice to do some reworking on this one maybe in grace period. We are beyond that now. You got some transactions. I think that there's some things that you can do to kind of save this, or maybe there's some plans I'm not aware of, but this definitely has just the most glaring weaknesses from kind of a fundamental perspective so far here. Let's go then to our next team, Philadelphia Flygons, and Mr. G, who was runner-up last season. Again, this isn't about the coaches, but worthy of mention. He has the smallest team so far, which at first glance I like. That's just kind of a personal preference. I like top-heavy teams. My SDA team that won was a 10 mon required team, and I had 8 mon and two 1-pointers at the bottom who did contribute. He's really top-heavy and looking really good up top here. Terra Tornadus is a really monstrous threat. Terapagos in the second round is really awesome as well. I just got that in a draft, but I've been wanting to get it in the first round and not able to. So really great that he was able to get that. Roaring Moon, another one that often goes in first or early second round. Annihilate, a couple of fairy weaknesses there, but then he's got a couple of good fairy resists here with Jirachi and Glamora. Rotom, a great pivot. Ground type, ice type, Mamoswine. Looks like a pretty this is one where you look at the mons themselves and go, oh wow, that's a scary bunch there. Even Magmar down here. Magmar has done some terrible things to me in low tier. I think it's a little less usable here. But let's go into the specifics and kind of look a little bit closer here. I forgot to look at the been discussing, I guess, the hazard removal before we do that. We can do that now. He's got Stealthrox here. Obviously Glamora kind of covers all that stuff. Spins as well as does all hazards. Terapagos, hazards, and spins. So he's looking really good from a spinner and hazard setting prospect here. Another Stealthrocker here too. Speed tiers, good. He's got the 121, the 119. A little bit nice maybe to have something in between here like a 110, but he's at least got these two really quick ones. Then we're going down to 100. Pretty fast. I would really like to see some slower stuff here as well. So that's speed tiers, I guess, is a gripe I would have about this team as I'm being picky. That, yes, there's lots of amazing mon here, but something a little faster than one in between 100 and 120 would be nice. And having some 60s and 70s at least, some bottom end speed would be really nice here as well. Let's go over to the typing chart. Okay, so he doesn't have a bug. Who cares? No fairy. Okay, I didn't notice that yet. No grass. It's not a huge deal. A little bit weak to water, but not really. Kind of minor weaknesses to Dark and Dragon, which would be helped out with a fairy. Yeah, it would be really nice to have a fairy. I mean, he can go Terra Fairy, but he's only really got the one Terra Captain unless he's bringing Magmar regularly. Magmar is also kind of a fake fire, I guess. I mean, this is one where we expect that it's not going to be coming to a lot of matchups. Usually your fire is to resist fire, I guess, and be a fairy resist. He does have a good fairy resist here, good fairy resist here. Some fine neutral things, so I don't think that that's as huge of a deal. Would love to have a fairy for him so that he's not forced to run like a Terra Fairy Tornadus every time he faces a dragon team. Does have a good steal anyways to help with dragons, but fairy is just one of those types that's just really nice to have, and personally I try to have on all my teams if I can. So he is missing a little bit of a deficit there. Not hugely weak to anything. It would be nice to have a fairy. Grass, having a grass too probably would do that. Whimsicott, maybe. I'm not sure that Whimsicott's really adding a lot here to the team, and you'd have to give up something big. But yeah, this is another good example, kind of like TK Sanities here, the Charlotte Eiscue, where it's a really scary team missing a couple of fundamental things. I think that he at least has hazard removal and a grounded poison, which is more important, I think, than not having the fairy. I would place this one, I think, definitely higher than Charlotte Eiscue. To me, the deficits kind of keep it out of S range, but I think that the threats really kind of propel it to potentially higher than Slowpokes here and Ryuken Legacy. Let's have a look at those real quick again. It just scares me to look at these top, well, everything but Magmar here is just like a top end threat. It's not just like a bringable thing. These are all top end threats, and that is worth a lot to me. Puts him above this, puts him above, I think, Arch here as well, just again based off of those threats. Puts him above a Praetor as well, maybe. That is a close one there. I think we're going to put him below a Praetor. Praetor again has a lot of really strong breakers as well. Both of them having a little bit of the similar top end speed issues. Well, I guess the Praetor has the top end speed is his issue, whereas kind of some other gaps in speed tier is Mr. G's issue. That's a really tough one for me. Gosh, you know what? I think that the kind of the top end speed, maybe with Roaring Moon and Tornadus, put this one a little bit above a Praetor for me. I do really like this team. Tempted almost to bump up some of these to S as well, but I think again the mentioned flaws with the speed tiers and not having a fairy put it as a high A for me instead. Two more teams left. Let's see who we got. We have Nikki and the Montreal Roarers. Nikki's team lost the World Series recently after he was rubbing in my face that they beat my Mariners. So just wanted to point that out. Not a bad place to be, but I know how it feels to not win the World Series, Nikki. He has a disgusting looking stall team here, at least with kind of the first glance at the first few picks here. Tinglu and Petulant are just Terra Hydrapple, really hard to break down, really great mon. Having that as well as Thundurus as Terra Captains is a really nice pair of Terra Captains. He's got some good top end speed there with Weavile. Slowking is a good pivot as well. I really like Slowking with Tinglu. Those two work pretty well together other than the shared grass weakness, which he's got Petulant and Hydrapple for, as well as Heatran. Cresselia is so his hazard removal is Hitmontop, which is not ideal, but not awful. Cresselia is kind of like, do we really need this? I don't think so. It's kind of doing the same thing as Slowking. It's just more obnoxious. Ribombee, he's got some webs too. Okay. So for the most part, he's got a lot of slow, bulky mon, a couple of fast attacking threats here. Good to know. And again, we have a spinner. We have rocks here. Obviously, Tinglu has all the hazards kind of under the game that are available to him. He doesn't get toxic spikes on Petulant. I don't think he needs toxic spikes. It would be nice to have those, but when you pick Petulant as your poison, you kind of just live with it because it's a really amazing mod to have. Let's go into specifics here. He's going to be Team 15 in this doc. Oh, there's no Team 15. Is he Team 16? Oh, we've got some issues here. Let's pause and figure that out. Okay, had an error with how this was entered into the doc. Yeah, Let's look now. Weavile and Ribombee are his fastest Mon. Ribombee is kind of like, yeah, it's technically fast. It doesn't really matter because he's got Weavile. Thundurus is a great Pokemon, especially a Terra Captain, Prankster. Love Thundurus. Actually, I haven't really used it much myself. Been helping other people kind of build with it recently, and it's done really well. 111 is really nice just because there's so many flat 110 speed tier mons, so it's just enough to outspeed most of them. A little bit of a jump down there to Pecharunt, as well as Cresselia. These are mon that you don't really expect to be fast. Certainly they could be fast. I would love to see something around 100, again, just pure speed tier wise to kind of fill that gap. 70, rest of them look pretty good. Don't need to have something in 60. It'd be cool, I guess, but not a huge deal. Pretty slow on the slow end where he needs to with his defensive core. Kind of looking at this, and we'll look at the type chart too. I would love to see. I don't know that Cresselia is adding a lot, to be frank. It is a ground immunity. He does have Heatran. Maybe that's what he's going for there. I would. It kind of feels like the attackers could use a little bit of help. Yes, Hydrapple can do some chip into things, or maybe more depending on the situation. Ting-Lu can hit things. He's got his Slowmon that can kind of hit and chip things. But it would be nice to see just a little bit more power as far as the full-out attackers. Really, the full-out attackers I would consider to be Weavile and Thundurus, and that's it. So maybe trading out Cresselia and getting something around 100 or so speed tier that's a solid attacker. If you can get something that's also a rapid spinner and maybe get rid of Hitmontop. Obviously, you're a stall team here. You've got a good, strong hazard game. Hitmontop can work. But when you are being the hazard person, it's usually really nice to be able to win the hazard game on both sides. So you want to have like a decent spinner in addition to the decent hazard game of your own. Not a deal breaker. You can certainly work your way around that. But just a suggestion there. I'm not sure if there's something around 9 or 10 points that you could trade in that Cresselia for. That would be maybe a spinner as well as a better attacker. Maybe if you traded Hitmontop as well, you can get something in the teens. Don't know what's left. Let's go to a little ways over here and look at the typing chart. Pretty good for the most part. It got all the types except for normal and rock. It's nice to have a normal. It's not really necessary. Normal's main issue is ghost immunity, but he's got Ting-Lu as well as Weavile, who's not really a real dark resist. He's mostly just offensive typing there. Who cares about rock? We are a little weak to rock. We have a Ting-Lu, which is interesting there, so I don't know how we're so... Who's giving us the rock weaknesses? Oh, Ribombee is. His two main attackers are weak to rock. That's notable. As well as weak to stealth rock, that means too. So this is, again, a team with Hitmontop as your spinner. Probably one that you can block pretty easily if it's just Hitmontop. Not a lot that it can do to threaten most spin blockers. It does get like Thief, I think, or if you happen to have like a secondary type. But otherwise, you can probably block it, and if you can get some hazards out, you're forcing his offensive threats to have boots every week, when maybe he wants to have Scarf or damage boosting items instead. So again, you can make that work, but it is a limitation, and we are being nitpicky here. A little slight fairy, flying, and ghost weaknesses. Not that worried again about the ghost weaknesses. If we get rid of Cresselia, it's adding a ghost weakness that we don't really need to have. I just don't see what value this is bringing that Slowking is also not bringing, other than the ground immunity. But I don't think that the ground weakness is that big of a deal. You have your Thundurus here. You have Hydrapple. Heatran is really the only one to worry about there as far as ground, but I don't think you need Cresselia. I'll stop harping on that, but that would be my biggest recommendation, is get rid of Cresselia, get a better spinner attacker. Otherwise, the typing looks pretty good. I'm kind of curious. I want to look here. Why not? Because we're almost to the end. But let's look Is there something around? So Cresselia, I think, is 9 points. Hitmon is 5. So he could have up to 14 points. Is there something that would meet his needs? Necrozma, not necessarily. Como? Mew? Salamence? Swampert? Ursaluna. Ooh. Not really meeting that exact need. Not seeing like a spinner attacker, but there are definitely some good attackers left. Hydreigon. Yeah, so it seems like that the spinner situation is kind of shot here, which is probably why we have Hitmon top. Still would look at, do you need to have Cresselia? The answer, of course, is going to be no. Heracross? Meloetta? Ooh, Serena. Does he have a grass type? Serena, I think, is a better spinner. She's not 100 base speed. Could be an interesting option, add a little bit of offense, though. I'm not going to go through anymore. I don't want to waste too much time looking at his specific situation here. But get a better attacker. Get more than just the two that you have. A better fighting type, even maybe, but since you're double weak to rock on the two that you do have, would be really, really nice to have there. So I would spend some time looking at that. You could look at even like a Paldean Tauros or something like that, which is 100 base speed, I think. A couple different typing combinations for those to choose from there. And a fighting type would reduce or would not be share that same rock weakness there. But it's a defensive team. It's a stall team. It's kind of what you expect, I guess. It's not a terrible thing, and I think he's got enough of a headache here with his Pecharunt and his Tinglu and his Regen Core that maybe it doesn't really matter for this team. But again, I'm just looking for things to improve upon. I do like the team overall, but let's see how we like it in comparison to who else we have so far. I kind of feel like this may be... for some reason, I keep coming back to Charlotte Eiscue as a benchmark of a team that I really like that has some flaws. I kind of am feeling like this maybe is a B team at the moment. We could do a higher B. Let's compare that to like the Fire Gods of Anubis here. Fire Gods is kind of the opposite problem, where he's got a lot of offense and not enough defense. Kind of feel like I like it better than Fire Gods. He does have great Tusk, though, and some really good offense. Maybe not. Really close there. Dr. VR, where are you at, my friend? Dr. VR, kind of like him better than Dr. VR. I think that his stall core is scary enough that it's going to be able to win a lot of games regardless of some of the attacker issues. I'm actually going to put him above Fire Gods of Anubis here as kind of a high B. So really, again, really scary mon. We want to get some better attackers, and we want to get some a little bit better speed tiers. Fire Gods, we like your attackers. We want to get some more defensive pivots involved. And that brings us to our last team here. Let's have a look at them. We have the Colorado Skyers. Garchomp into Terra King Gambit into Cinder Ace into one of my favorites, Screamtail. So you get bonus points from the judge there. Couple of water types. Good spinner with Blastoise, though. Manaphy as well. I don't know if he was just kind of burning some points at the end there. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have a Manaphy. Mineshaw is kind of a cool mon that recently high jump kicked its way through my team unexpectedly in Josh League. Terra Vileplume is kind of like Terra Gloom. I've used Skarmory a lot as well. Really, this kind of looks like a team. It's a team where I personally like a lot of the mon on here. let's have a quick look just at hazard stuff. We got rocks and spikes, rocks, good hazard, not removal, I guess, but I'm scared to bring hazards against Cinderace personally because you don't want to have them turned on you. The Goat Disruptor, as well as the Stealth Rocker here, Spinner here with Blastoise, tons of spikes and rocks coming down from the sky with Skarmory. And does it get Toxic Spikes? We don't have Toxic Spikes. I don't think the Vileplume gets Toxic Spikes. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, let's have a look at the specifics here. Hazard game is looking pretty good for the most part as far as removal and hazards available. Let's go to team 17 is where I got this one slotted. Speed tiers really look pretty good overall. Kilowattrel, not the strongest mon, but with Terra Captain wise, it's pretty good. And certainly can be really good in the right situations, of course. Don't even need that to be your fastest mon. Cinderace at 119 is plenty fast enough to be your fastest mon, and is a really strong, great fast mon in a world where there's not a ton of them available. Screamtail, very quick, not really a quick attacker, but it's a quick disruptor, which kind of makes it unique, and one of the reasons why I really like it. Minechow, Garchomp. So he's got more than half his team over 100, which is cool for the most part. And he does also have some down at 50 as well, so he's not really like total Trick Room bait. He's got 70 and 78, which is good. Be nice to have like a 90 in here as well. Kind of a small gripe, I guess. And let's have a look at just the typing overall. He's got a couple of holes, I guess, as far as, well, let's look what they are. Rock, we don't really care about. Normal, nice to have, not a big deal. Ice, meh. Ghost is cool to have. Bug is these aren't really crucial typings in my opinion. It's nice to have Ghost and Normal. I've got lots of teams without them personally, and they work just fine. The bottom line here looks pretty good. He just has, I think it was just Endless's team, the Indiana Sneaslers, that had all of the 100% green or yellow or better down here. We just have a slight Ghost weakness here, which honestly isn't really, they have it adjusted as a slight weakness here with the chart, but really he's got one weakness and one resist. King Gambit is switching to Ghost attacks all day long, no problem. Really strong Terra Captain, King Gambit is. His other ones are decent as well. Obviously a little bit of a fall off there, but that's because he's spending so much on King Gambit. Strength of attackers, and I want to look at kind of just some of the typing variations here, as well as special versus physical. Got special here, physical, doesn't really count. Physical, a little bit of special, So he's more... he's definitely a bit physical heavy as far as attackers. He does have, again, his double waters here who can be doing some good damage wise there. Manaphy can definitely be a special breaker with Tail Glow. Kilowattrel is fast enough and just hits hard enough to be a good fast special attacker. So I think it gets by there. I think this team, let's kind of look at its pivoting too. Pivoting, these ones don't pivot. These ones can, this one doesn't. These can. So we got a good amount of pivoting overall as well. He's got Screamtail and Garchomp. Yeah, I really like this team. I think I could see this being maybe a lower S tier for me. Let's see here. How do we like this and consider in comparison to some of the others? And I feel like he's got a good amount of really pretty scary things here. Well, maybe not. Maybe he doesn't have quite as much top end power. Terra King Gambit is really scary though. Garchomp is really scary. Cinderace, Screamtail is scary for different reasons. He's got, like, compared to Mr. G, he doesn't have as many top end threats, but he just has a really consistent good amount of usable mon in here. I don't see any just bullshit mon. He does have like Kilowattrel and Vileplume who are a little more shaky, but everything is pretty good for the most part, as well as far as solid mon. I think just because Mr. G had a couple of those fundamental things that were going on with his team, I would place it above that. Would we place it above Bacher? I think, what was our issue with Bacher? I think Bacher had, honestly, I can't even remember at this point in time here. Bacher has a really scary team. I think I really like Bacher's team. I think he had kind of some speed tier issues, if I'm remembering correctly, but my brain's getting a little bit numb here. I think I do like Bacher's team better than his, so I think I would put him here. I almost kind of want to expand these categories a little bit. I think that everybody's at least to be, other than Psychedelic Supremacy, which has just a lot of things to fix on it. These are all really good. I mean, honestly, these are all grouped together pretty well. I could flesh these out into pluses and minuses and all kinds of things that I've seen, Zach and some other people do. Ultimately, this is kind of the order, and you can put whatever grades next to them that you want. I have been kind of wondering, did I do the right thing? I want to review this one more time as far as who's really our best team here.
Are you almost done?
Yes. I've had Endless as the best. I do kind of, I think has the best just kind of coverage of his basics here, and having the best typing chart. Twisted having just the most powerful offensive threats with Dragapult, Zarude, stuff like that. So that's kind of what the debate's been for me. Bacher as well is up in there. I think I actually want to change the spots of these two, just because I think that the Dragapult, Zarude situation here is really scary. We do have a little bit of a fairy thing going on, but we have Zarude who can tear out of that, as well as some strong pivots for fairy resist with Forretress and Slowking, and he does have Lando and Ogerpon as well there. So this is it. This is where I'm sticking them. Just one person's opinions here. Come at me in the comments if you guys want to. That's fine. I'd be happy to discuss these with you guys as well personally if you wanted to message me. But good luck with your seasons.